Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in on a very important topic that I've been getting a lot of inquiries and comments about. And that is particularly how to handle the energy of a psychopath. And especially I've been getting a lot of questions about how to handle a female psychopath. And so we're going to zoom in and focus in on that topic. Now, when we talk about someone who is psychopathic, you really need to understand a couple things here. And we're not here to diagnose or treat. I'm going to be talking to you on very specific, direct terms about this antisocial personality disorder, particularly that in the female, and understanding that studies have shown that the brain centers, the neurons that fire and wire together, are structurally different in these types of individuals than the mass of society. So it's thought that between 1% and 4% of the population is psychopathic. Okay, that's neither here nor there. We want to really focus in on the deleterious or dangerous, negative, very oftentimes very strong and very overwhelming energetic field that this person tends to emanate. And when we talk about someone who is psychopathic, we're talking about someone who does not have a conscience. So your thoughts are vibrations. Your thoughts really sort of also coalesce and work with your emotions as well. So your emotions are really the energetic feeling or that expresses desire or fear or morals or integrity. It gives a sort of an overall sense to your thoughts, which, and then your emotions basically are driving you to fulfill your thoughts or your desires and to lessen the gap. So in other words, if you're hungry, you have a feeling, I need to get a sandwich, I need to get a steak, I need to get a milkshake, whatever it is. Your feelings then coordinate with your thoughts, etc. So there's a loop there. Now, your thoughts are vibrations, and the thoughts of a psychopath are different from your everyday, basically normal type of individual throughout all the spectrums of different types of people. We're talking about the different thought set that a psychopath will have when they're going about through their day, their workplace, their family, their relationships, etc. It's very important to understand that these people do not have a conscience, which means there's a really kind of a disconnect. Studies have shown a disconnect between the centers that register emotional meaning and significance, between words as well as images, and what it resonates or has meaning with. So, some people might say love, and then they have an image or a feeling of what love is. They might say the abstract such as freedom. You might have an image or a feeling of what freedom is. High morality. You might have a feeling or an image of what that is. So these are abstract emotions. Just like when you hear a song, you have kind of the vibe of that feeling of that song, and it has something meaningful, significant to you. It resonates on you at an emotional, heartfelt level. So these are just examples of emotions. And now when we talk about a psychopath, we're discussing someone who is very severe on the spectrum, so it's beyond really a malignant narcissist. We're talking about someone who does not register these same emotions, these same meanings, the same significance the way that other people do. There are many studies have been shown that psychopaths really don't really feel fear. They have sort of a hypersensitivity to dopamine, which is the reward neurochemical, as well as a very sort of slower emotional processing of other moral centers which take place in the brain. So there's sort of a disconnect in terms of judgment. And there's also oftentimes found a higher level of testosterone, which creates an aggression and then a lack of empathy. So there's a lot of neurochemical exchanges going on which are different from the mass of society. But what this really equates to is someone who does not feel and experience relationships, opportunities, life, art, music, work, everything under the sun, really, they don't experience the same way. So what's significant for you to understand as a takeaway is to understand that the thought forms of these individuals are different from what you would even imagine or dream up or conjure up possible. So it is to understand that these individuals know that there's something different about themselves. They see that they don't really want to hold hands the way that other people want to hold hands, yet they want power. They see the other way people might, sip hot chocolate together and have sort of a, have a heart-to-heart, their feelings get animated. They see these reactions. They see these people giggling or laughing or having these other exchanges or wanting to grow professionally and, hard work and wanting to be a good human being and wanting to help others. So they see and observe this, but they do not feel it. So they understand really that there's something different about them in their late teenage years. And they say, whoa, I'm not really sort of, I don't really have all these emotions going on within me. In fact, these emotions seem to just stand between people and what they want. Why would they deliberate about moral things? Why not just take it? Why would you be afraid of doing the wrong thing? Why don't you just do it? The person with all the contacts with, the boss is over here. Why don't you just go and buddy up with this person? So these are some of the, thought patterns where a psychopath is going to think differently energetically than the rest of society. And so this creates an energy field around these individuals. Thoughts are vibrations. So just to have you understand that, for example, when an individual, particularly maybe a female psychopath, is looking at a party, looking at a social event, or at the workplace, or wherever it is that she is trying to basically get her power or control needs met, there's always going to be something that they want. And it's usually to manipulate and outsmart people. They don't want relationships for the sake of having relationships. It's all about what they can outsmart people. So instead of being rewarded by the moral, feeling of being excellent at your job, or, of helping, or of helping somebody, the feeling of earning your own money, or, kind of connecting to these sort of nostalgic things. The psychopath does not plug into that. So they're plugging into the fact that they don't have this whole emotional exchange going on within, and they feel that this is basically short-circuiting themselves and gives them what they feel in their thought process is this, hey, this makes me a lot more powerful and really sort of different and separate from others. And it gives me the ability to violate boundaries and violate people's instincts, in fact, mess them up and get them to follow me and sort of get into a very deliberate charade, if you will, in order to get control over them and their mind and their emotions and their reactions. It's like the ultimate puppeteer. So these people, yes, everybody would like a smile, but a genuine smile. So these people are all about how to trigger and manipulate feelings, especially that of fear or high-risk behavior, through hyper arousal of these people and really sort of working on them on a psychological level. And so these people don't, as we're saying, they don't connect with others in the same heartfelt sort of give and take manner. They don't register that. So what they register on is, how can I dupe and deceive others and manipulate, and almost like, for fun, or, making somebody scream, making somebody cry, making somebody feel betrayal, making somebody lose their fortune, making somebody lose their job, making somebody lose their stuff. This is all what the psychopath is after. They are not after relationships, even though on the outside it might seem like this is your ultimate social butterfly over here, over there. This is my girls, these are my girls, these are my men, whatever it is. It's there. You can tell there's a definite distinction between how they deliberately sort of move people around like pawn pieces and sort of kind of their game of chess. In other words, if I can, get everybody over here and then move over everybody over here and then it's checkmate, boom, boom, boom. And then I've got your this, I've got the this. And pretty soon they're, jumping over people, taking all the pawns, wiping the slate clean, and they are calling checkmate or whatever it is in chess game. I haven't played chess in a while. But the analogy still holds true, is that they move people around like objects. Literally, they maneuver someone over here, and oftentimes, literally, you'll see them move people in a room. You'll see them move people to a corner. You'll see them passing by and sort of pivoting themselves around opportune people and sort of parading themselves either where they shouldn't be or around who they're trying to trigger. It is very deliberate and calculated. And so this is not how the majority of people think. How to sort of get a whole crowd of people going and not make it about them. It's all about the control that they have over this person and then the reactions that they can get. So this even goes as deep in terms of sexuality. A lot of men are completely dumbfounded when they have been targeted by this type of person because they exhibit all the nurturing qualities, all the highly, erotic, fantasies and things of this nature that get men basically, doing whatever this woman wants for her because of this power. It is the ability that because it's kind of like a blind person, as I've said, if they don't have the sense of sight, they really, really develop their other senses. They become sharper. More of the neuro centers, the neurochemistry, as well as the neurons that wire and fire together become, more developed because of a need to navigate and communicate with their environment. The same is true, I feel, with a psychopath, someone who does not register on that emotional because they feel in their own eyes that to be stopped by your emotions is basically what the rest of society, their problem is. It would be just easier if you were just to break the rule here, do this here, show, it's a deliberate and calculated sort of moving around of people to get the outcome that they want. Whether it's a promotion, whether it's to cheat on someone who's married, whether it's to say, look, you did this to your wife, look, you did this to your business. Usually it's hurting other people that eventually it is the end result of their relationships. Even though it seems like they are the most social or affable of people, it is really all about control. It is all about power. It is all about who can prop me up. And oftentimes when you listen to the female psychopath who is trying to get a whole bunch of people sort of gathering around, in other words, they have been able to text people enough, email enough, send the pictures, and it's all about them. It's what's very, very interesting. You'll find when you really look at their language patterns, and language patterns, there's been all sorts of studies. I'm not citing the scientific studies right now. You can research them if you like. But the emotional content of their words is oftentimes will end up in word salad, or what is like a psychopathic salad, or it's a very sort of disjointed way of speaking. And some of the things that they will say are very out of context or very odd and inappropriate, yet it makes you kind of turn your head, cock your head, and go, what does that mean? And this creates the fog, the fear, obligation, and guilt. In other words, it begins to mess with your thought patterns. It gets you on alarm. It begins to start some confusion. I haven't heard that before. What does this mean? And so you'll begin to, um, these energy vibrations, thought forms are energy. So you can actually feel this manipulation from these types of people. Once you have been around it enough, you've studied enough, and you've identified it, you can really feel a very uncomfortable presence with them. And it's because you're sensing their thought patterns, and you're sensing that something here is not, beneficial, something is harmful, something is dangerous. It's like that seventh sense that's picking up that something is not right here. But people who have become overwhelmed, men who have become overwhelmed by these women, who have moved them around like pawn pieces. I can't see you this day, not this day, but this day, and then this day, and then they're juggling around all sorts of relationships. And I mean, these people can have just an incredible amount of relationships and have the busiest schedule, yet they never seem tired. And then they'll say that they're tired, but then they never are. They'll cancel out their own language. There's a huge cognitive dissonance between what they say and what they do. But furthermore, the energy, in other words, it's all about, you're going to do this so you can see me. So it's not so that she can, so she can see you, it's so that you can see her. If you look at the language patterns, oftentimes, even something that is something that you want to do because you want to do it, the source, and this is very in-depth, but the source of your desire, then instead of I want to do this, it becomes, so you can see me. It becomes like all back to the psychopath. Everything begins to center around this person like a swirl of a tornado. In other words, instead of, we're going to go out to dinner. And we've been thinking about this place. Well, you can do that so you can see me, do, and you can see me, talk about my vacation or whatever. So instead of it becoming about the original idea or setting or what you wanted, it's then truncated, it's then mangled, it's dissembled, and then all of a sudden it becomes all about them. So this is the psychological taking over. This is the psychological hijacking. This is the energy that we're talking about. It is the thought forms which create this oftentimes very, very intimidating or uncomfortable aura or energy around these people. You can feel them like on the back of your head. You can feel them on your body. You can feel their presence. Just as I was saying, for example, I was walking out of my building, and I could feel somebody behind me. And, a lot of people were walking out, but I could, as I started to walk even further, I could even feel more. And, I turned around, and then here was a guy who said, I'm not following you. But he was following me, and he was about 40 feet away. And so then I looked at him, and I could feel something energetically about him, just in his pace. And then all of a sudden, he just began to unload to me, just a stranger, all about his day. All about his day, So what I could feel from 40 feet behind me was this person's desire to talk to somebody. I mean, I could pick up on that energetically. So the very same is very much true of a female psychopath. This energy of their desire to outsmart and sort of play people like pawns, like move things around. And once again, what's very heartbreaking is the relationship. And someone said it's a manipulationship or something. But what's very heartbreaking is that when you really expose these people and you see really the lack of emotional meaning and significance that these people have, it is so very empty, and it's so very empty on so many levels. And this person is not at all who they portend to be. It's something very, very vastly inhumane, that's so terrifying. But oftentimes they don't show this true energy, while they're out, putting on their facade. They can put on an air about them, which is very, very created. It is very manufactured. And so those people who have exposed them, they know, they've been with a person long enough that they know what is manufactured, and they know what this person is really about. So this is just, there's so much to this content, but number one, through this video, I want you to unequivocally understand that you are more powerful than this person. Their power cannot overwhelm you. You have love, you have light, you have conscience. And so your energy, I want you to not be afraid. Okay, number one, what ends up happening is that people become so fearful that they can't face this energy. I want you to understand that you are more powerful and you cannot be moved by this. You are more powerful and you cannot be moved by this. I want you to repeat that affirmation and really begin to really send love and light and really energy, light into your being and your own aura as you say this, because you'll be able to sort of push out that negative energy. We're going to talk more about how to do this in future videos.